stinks, the eye. Labour's homelessness minister has ejected 4 tenants from a flat they were renting.
This is the epitome of Labour hypocrisy, isn't it? It really, really, really is. Let me just quote this homelessness minister for a second for you. And this is coming directly from the Eye here. The MP, her name is Rushanara Ali. She's previously stated that private renters are being exploited, and so that her government would empower people to challenge unreasonable rent price increases on rent. So, get this, right? She's charging £3,300 roughly a month for rent. She evicts all of her tenants, gives them 4 months' notice, and then brings in a bunch of new tenants for over £4,000 a month. That's a £700 increase on rent. How can you be the homelessness minister? How can you criticise private landlords and say, oh, this is ridiculous and unreasonable rent increases, and then go and do exactly that?
Unless what we need to be careful of with this is what reasons she had for evicting the tenants.
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe they weren't paying their rent, maybe they were trashing the house, we just don't know, do we?
I'm sure there's a reasonable thing. However, I will say, look, if it was about the rent and if it was about them not paying rent, that's different. But then to come back and put the prices up, well, 700 quid's a lot of money to put up after it. I don't know. Listen,
yeah, but it's different tenants, so it's you know.
Sure, I just think it stinks of hypocrisy.
The fact is, we've got the Renters' Rights Bill going through Parliament, which is basically going to prevent landlords from evicting tenants. And that's why a lot of landlords are evicting tenants, because they're terrified about the consequences down the line of this. And not paying your rent under that bill is not necessarily something that will allow you to circumvent that new rule. What this says to me, Alex, you hit the nail on the head. It's the epitome of Labour hypocrisy. This government is getting more like George Orwell's Animal Farm every day. One rule for those in charge, one rule for the Labour government and their MPs and ministers, and quite another rule for the rest of us.
The crazy thing about this, as you know, Suzanne, is that Labour is making it illegal for landlords to relist properties at higher rent increases. So under the new laws.
Are they?
So this is why it stinks so much of hypocrisy. It's like it's almost like this minister looking, going, I better do that before this new law comes in that my party and I voted for.
Absolutely right.
And I just think, for me, that just stinks.
Well, a spokesperson for Rushanara Ali has said that Rushanara takes her responsibilities seriously and complied with all relevant legal requirements.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private internet access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private internet access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
There you go.
Wow, what are all the current ones?
Current ones,
yeah.
Suzanne, let's have a look at the Telegraph, shall we? And hotel migrants linked to hundreds of crimes, they are reporting.
Yeah, this is shocking. I mean, it's a tiny little bit on the front page of the Telegraph. It's actually, I think, worthy of a much bigger story. At least 200 people living in asylum seeker hotels have been charged with criminal offences this year, although police haven't revealed their immigration status. And this is research by the Telegraph. Basically, 200 people, according to court records, who are living in migrant hotels have been charged with 425 offences. So, on average, at least 2 each. And of these, 109 were violent offences and 44 were sexual offences, including 4 counts of alleged rape. Now, to me, we know these men coming... Well, I feel that these men coming over in boats are not genuine asylum seekers. If they were genuine asylum seekers, they'd be very grateful for having a safe haven here, and they sure as heck wouldn't be going out and committing crimes when they've been given absolutely everything on a plate. This is shocking. This totally explains why people are so angry about this crisis, why they're protesting outside these hotels, because mothers are literally fearing for their children's safety and their own safety. If you've got migrants committing an average, or 200 of them committing at least 2 crimes, a lot of them violent, this is a serious concern. This is not right-wing prejudice or bigotry. This is fact. This is something that's happened. It's court records. It's not speculation. It's shocking.
It's, as you say, I think the key point with that, whatever your views on the whole situation, and there are differing views out there, the idea that you would come claiming asylum to a country and then start committing offences just beggars belief. It beggars belief.
It does, and I think the real stinger in all of this is that we struggle to deport people who commit these crimes and are here illegally, have come here illegally. And the British public will be scratching their heads going, right, well, if you've come to this country, as you rightfully said, Suzanne, and are seeking asylum to escape a terrible country, and then you commit a crime, and you still can't be sent home for sometimes ridiculous reasons. What is going on in Britain? We are a laughingstock of the world for doing this. There's plenty of other countries in Europe that are able to deport foreign criminals, and we just cannot do it. And guess what? Our prisons are also overflowing.
No other country in the world would put up with this. I don't know why. We are an absolute outlier on this.
It's
we
crazy.
seem to be the only country in the world that is unable to control our borders and actually deal with criminals who are also immigrants in this country.
Which is a crazy thing, though, because the whole point of Brexit was to be able to control our borders.
Well, exactly.
Take back control.
Take back control.
Exactly.
Take back control. I mean, obviously, I hold the last Conservative government in complete contempt for this, because not only did they claim to be taking back control, they also let in millions of people into the country legally, as well as tens of thousands illegally.
Saying, oh, you voted Brexit. Well, sod that. We're going to show you. It's not going to make a blind bit of difference. I really think there is something about that, particularly in the civil service, which unanimously was anti-Brexit on the whole. I think there's almost putting 2 fingers up to that vote.
Right.
Well, it's all wrapped up in ECHR, isn't it? And we won't be able to support anybody whilst there's...
And the Human Rights Act here, and the Refugee Convention, and all these things that are completely out of date and no longer fit for purpose in modern-day Britain, because we cannot deport people for the most ludicrous things under these laws, which they're all done with good intentions. Let's get that right. I mean, they were, but they are just not fit for purpose in 2025.
Yeah, ECHR, other countries, as I say, don't seem to worry about it. It is the Blair's Human Rights Act as well that applies in this country. It's got to stop.
But what are our politicians here to do if they're not going to change the law when it needs to be changed? That is their job.
And keep people safe. Well, that's their primary responsibility.
Well, it is, isn't it? I mean, that really is the number one thing, which doesn't seem to be happening. In the meantime, in the Express, Alex, apparently we're also setting our young people up for failure because of tax.
Yeah, and again, of course, it makes a lot of sense. With you're a young person coming into probably one of your first jobs, let's say you're in your early 20s, you've just done a degree, you've got loads of debt, you're paying that off every month. And on top of that, you're now seeing record high taxes. GDP per capita is down, wage growth is stagnant. We're heading towards an absolute dire crisis. I mean, young people in this country have been hit the worst as it is for the last 15 years. Many of them can't afford homes, many of them can't save, many of them are suffering for increasing prices for rents and things like that. On the top of all those things, listing of things I just said, now there looks like there's an incoming AI boom, which is, of course, going to take many of their jobs away too, so they can't even skill up in time to do that. But in the short term, we're barrelling towards a 5% unemployment rate. And do you know what that means? Recession. So the jobs tax and all these things, it just looks like a really dire time to want to be in the British market. So that's why 71% of people in the young people in the East Midlands are not optimistic about Britain as a place to live and work, and I don't blame them for feeling
And I think
that
what's
way.
really sad is we know that so many of our young people are falling out of the workplace full stop. So we seem to have this awful dichotomy here between people who've already just completely given up and said, sod it, I don't care, I've got mental health issues, I'm going to go on benefits.
Yeah.
And then you've got another half that's desperate to find a job and can't get one because of government economic policy, and the jobs taxes are just completely destroying opportunities.
Yeah, they're all going to go abroad. And the problem is that we need those people to stay here and work, because we complain about the migration crisis here, but that only gets worse if our young people, young talented people leave. And there has I don't understand why the government can't see that this whole thing they've concocted is leading to an absolute disaster for this country.
They're
in the
a
long run.
classic example of what not to do in terms of the economy. I'm no economist, but I've got a vague grasp of it, and I just look at them and I think, what are you doing? You are doing everything wrong.
Yeah.
Rachel Reeves talks about growth by bringing in specifically anti-growth policies.
I keep thinking that, well, I'm like you. I'm not an economist, but you have a basic understanding of how things work. And you look at it and you go, well, this clearly can't be right. So you labour on under this apprehension that surely there must be something that they know that we don't. Because otherwise, why would you look at that and not go, clearly this isn't going to help?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, you look at, for basic economics, right? We're working at 100% GDP to debt ratio at the moment, which means basically all of our money is turning into liquid, because we have to then pay off this massive interest rate bill on top of it. I mean, listen, we could sit here all day. The British people know the issues, right? Everyone at home knows how bad it is. But as you said, when are we going to get on top of it? I don't know.
I don't think they are, because they're ideologically invested in wealth taxes, in the politics of envy and hatred of anybody who has anything. This is how one of my friends described it to me last night. He said they just hate anybody who has anything.
Yeah.
Alex, let's have a look at the Daily Mail, shall we? And why Gen Z will break the bank for a picture-perfect holiday.
Well, we all have friends out there who want to sort of... I guess the social media life does take over a little bit now for young people. And we were just talking about how abysmal the life is for young people as it is, and the prospects for them don't look good. So many of them are now just completely willing to say, do you know what? I will spend whatever it takes to go on these beautiful trips abroad and spend my money that way. That's basically.
Then they moan they haven't got money for a house.
Yeah. But then they look at their prospects and go, what's the point? What's the point of me saving? I'm going to have a savings tax. So I kind of understand they just have this little moments where they go, do you know what? This is what I'm saving up for. This is what I'm living for.
No, but this is what drives me bloody blooming crackers. Excuse my French. Is that they moan they haven't got... we can't afford
totally
a deposit on a house. Well, stop spending money on fancy cocktails and fancy holidays.
But then is that their only small joy, Stephen?
I think
they'll never get a house deposit.
Yeah, they just think a house is so unobtainable.
Well, it is.
That they might as well just...
They just live in the moment.
Sympathetic. Graft.
Sorry. I think this is also being driven by social media, isn't it? That
Yes.
need to have that perfect holiday snap. And do you know, in Australia, they're now classing selfie-related deaths as a public health issue. Because all these people taking selfies of themselves on a cliff or at a waterfall when they're on holiday.
What is the world coming to?
379 people died at least since 2008 taking a selfie.
All right.